My dear child, what you are receiving now is the continuation of something that has already begun unfolding in your life. The movement did not stop. It has been quietly advancing and is now revealing its next step. There were times when everything felt uncertain and progress seemed distant, yet even then unseen alignment was taking place. What looked like stillness was preparation, and what felt delayed was being carefully timed. These words carry forward everything that has already been spoken into your spirit. They deepen what has started and bring stronger clarity to the direction that is opening ahead. Remain present and receive what follows with steady confidence. This is not a restart. It is the continuation of the breakthrough that has already begun moving in your favor. You are strong, you are faithful, you are loved. That is the truth of your identity. Stand in it. The silence deserves to be addressed because it has been one of the most difficult aspects of this season for you. The times when you reached out to me and did not hear back in the way you were hoping. The times when you prayed and the only thing that came back was quiet. The times when you needed a clear word, a sign, an unmistakable signal that I was there and I was listening and I was responding. And what you got instead was nothing that you could see or hear or hold on to. I want to talk to you about what was actually happening in that silence. First, the silence was not absence. I was present in every silent moment, completely present, just not communicating in the channel you were monitoring. When I am silent in the way that humans mean silence, which is when I am not sending obvious recognizable signals through the expected channels, I am often doing something that cannot be communicated through those channels. I am working at a depth in your situation that words would not be able to describe. I am doing something in the spirit that has not yet taken a form that language can hold. And the silence is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of activity that is too deep and too significant and too carefully being done to fit into the channel of words and signs. Second, the silence was protecting you. There are things I know about your situation that if I showed you all at once before you were ready to receive them, would have overwhelmed you. Not because they are bad things, because they are bigger than the current capacity could hold. So I have been revealing your situation to you in stages, giving you what you can carry at each point in the process, holding back the full picture until the capacity to receive the full picture is built. The silence in between revelations is not indifference. It is carefulness. It is the precision of a surgeon who knows exactly how much to reveal at each stage of the procedure, who withholds nothing because they are cruel, but who reveals strategically because they understand that the patient needs to heal in layers, and overwhelming the system all at once would be counterproductive. Third, the silence was an invitation into deeper trust, into the kind of faith that does not require constant external reassurance to remain stable, into the relationship where you know me well enough that the absence of a fresh sign does not shake your confidence in my presence. Because your confidence is not built on signs. It is built on the character of the God who showed himself faithful in every previous season you have walked, who has never ultimately failed you, whose track record across the whole of your life is one of showing up, of coming through, of being present even when the presence was not immediately legible. The silence was inviting you into that deeper place of trust. And every time you chose to hold on through the silence, you accepted the invitation, even if it did not feel like acceptance. Even if it felt like just barely surviving, you accepted the invitation. That matters more than you know. Now, let me talk about the people in your life who you have not been fully honest with about where you are. The ones who have asked how you are doing and received an answer that was technically true, but was not the whole truth. The ones who would want to know the real answer, but to whom you have given the edited version, the survivable version, the version that does not require them to carry your full reality alongside their own. I understand why you have done that. It comes from a genuine and generous place. You do not want to burden people. You do not want to be seen as someone who cannot handle things. You do not want the people who look to you for stability to see how unstable you actually feel. But I want to say something gentle and direct. You are not designed to carry this alone, not the full weight of it. I designed you for community, for the kind of relationships where the real things can be spoken and received and carried together, for the honest conversation that does not have to be pretty or resolved before it is shared. And when you carry the full weight of what you are carrying in private isolation, you rob yourself of something I designed to be part of your equipping for the journey, the strength that comes through genuine human community. I am not asking you to collapse onto every person you know with the full weight of your situation. Discernment about who to share and how much is wisdom, not secrecy. But I am asking you to find the one or two people who are genuinely safe, who have demonstrated the capacity to hold what is real without collapsing themselves or making your disclosure about their discomfort, and to let them in, to give them the real answer when they ask how you are, to let someone else carry a piece of this road alongside you, because carrying it alone is not strength, it is unnecessary isolation. And the relief of being genuinely known, of putting down the performance of fine for a moment, and just being where you actually are in the company of someone who can handle it, is something I want you to have. Not as a weakness, as the gift of community that I designed human beings to give each other on the road. Let someone in, not everyone, someone. You know who it is. Gratitude is something I want to speak to you about because, in a season this hard, the invitation to gratitude can feel like an insult, like being told to appreciate the view while you are drowning. So I want to be careful about how I say this. I am not asking you to be grateful for the difficulty. I am not asking you to thank me for the pain. I am not asking you to perform a positivity that is not actually true of where you are, but I am asking you to look even in the middle of the hard season for the things that are still true that deserve acknowledgement. Not to minimize what is hard, but to ensure that what is hard does not become the only thing you can see. Because in seasons of extended difficulty, one of the most insidious things that happens is that the hard thing slowly expands in the visual field until it blocks everything else, until you cannot see anything that is not the hard thing, until the whole of your perception of your life is filtered through the lens of the difficulty and everything is experienced through that lens. And when that happens, the true picture of your life becomes distorted in a way that feeds the discouragement rather than fighting it. So I am asking you to look to intentionally, deliberately, sometimes against the current of your feelings. Look for the things in your life that are still good, the people who are still there, the basic gifts of breath and health and ground beneath your feet, the ways that even in the hard season, my provision has continued. The small mercies of ordinary days, the moments of unexpected beauty or connection or rest that have come even in the middle of the difficulty. Look for them. They are there, and acknowledging them is not the same as pretending the hard thing is not hard. It is insisting on seeing the full picture rather than only the portion that the difficulty wants you to see. Gratitude is not denial, it is resistance. It is the refusal to let the hard thing have the whole field of vision. It is the act of saying this is real and this is also real, and both things are true at the same time, and I am not going to let the difficulty erase the good that coexists with it. Practice the gratitude even when it takes effort, especially when it takes effort, because the effort is what makes it powerful. A gratitude that costs nothing does not do much. A gratitude that is chosen against the current of a hard season, that is deliberately practiced when the feelings are pointing in the opposite direction. That is a gratitude that genuinely changes the posture of the soul and makes room for the hope to grow, even while the difficulty is still present. Something important needs to be said about the specific nature of the strength I place in you when you fight from the posture I have been describing. When you choose to stand in the truth of who you are rather than the diminished version the enemy has been pressing into you. When you choose to pray with persistence rather than giving into the weariness. When you choose to worship in the middle of the hard thing rather than waiting for easier circumstances to feel like worshiping. When you choose to share the real weight of where you are with safe people rather than carrying it in isolation. When you choose to practice gratitude even when the feelings are not there to make it easy. Something happens in you that I want you to understand. Each of those choices is an act of war against the systems the enemy has been trying to install in your interior. Each one is a refusal to cooperate with the erosion he has been working on, and each one generates something in your interior that compounds the strength that comes from one act of choosing the truth, makes the next act of choosing the truth a little more accessible. The faith that is exercised in one moment of standing in the face of the fear makes the faith slightly stronger for the next moment. The gratitude practiced on one hard day makes the gratitude slightly easier on the next hard day. Nothing you do in this fight is isolated. Every act accumulates, every choice compounds, and the person who has been making these choices, even imperfectly, even with a lot of stumbles along the way, is stronger today than they would have been if they hadn't made them. You are stronger than you would have been if this season hadn't come. That is one of the most true things I can say about where you are. As much as it has cost you, as much as you would not have chosen it, you are stronger today because of what you have walked through than you would have been if the road had been easier. And the strength that has been built is the kind that does not go away when this season ends. It is permanent. It is yours. It is part of who you are now, and it is going to serve you for the rest of your life in ways that you cannot yet predict, but that will become clear as the road continues. The difficult season has given you something. Even though it was not the kind of thing you would have chosen to receive, I want to say something now about the enemy's awareness of how close you are to the breakthrough, because I think understanding his strategy in this specific moment would help you recognize what is happening. When a fighter is close to winning, the opponent does not ease up. The opponent increases intensity. The opponent throws everything available in a final attempt to stop the outcome that is already leaning in the other direction. And if you have been noticing that the pressure seems to have increased rather than decreased, that the opposition seems more intense rather than less in recent days or weeks, that the attacks seem to be coming from more directions at once rather than fewer, that may not be a sign that things are getting worse in the overall trajectory of your situation. It may be a sign that you are closer to the breakthrough than the enemy can tolerate, and he is escalating because escalating is all he has left. The intensification of the opposition can be a sign of how close you are to the other side. I am not saying that is always what it means. Sometimes the intensity increases simply because the territory is hard and the road through it is steep. And those things are just true without any special prophetic meaning attached. But I am asking you to consider the possibility that what you are experiencing in this escalated form is not a sign that you are losing ground. It is a sign that the ground you are standing on is worth fighting for more desperately than ever. And the desperation of the fight against you is the evidence of the value of what you are carrying and what is waiting on the other side. Keep your ground. Do not give up the territory you have taken at such great cost. What comes after the breakthrough matters, and I think you need a picture of what you are fighting toward that is concrete enough to be genuinely motivating. After the breakthrough, there is a season of a different kind, not without its challenges, as I said, but different in character. A season where the things you fought for in this hard road begin to manifest, where the answers to the prayers that felt like they were going unanswered arrive in ways that make their arrival unmistakably my work, where the door that were closed begin to open, where the provision that was scarce begins to flow, where the relationships that were strained begin to heal, where the health that was compromised begins to restore, where the purpose that was struggling to find expression begins to come fully alive. but more than the external things that change, which are real and significant and coming. What changes in the season after the breakthrough is internal. The internal landscape shifts, the heaviness that has been the constant companion of this season, the weight that has been in the background of every experience, the pressure that has been shaping everything you feel and think and choose lifts, and what you discover in the lifting is something extraordinary. You're genuinely lighter, not because the difficult things all disappeared instantly, but because something that was pressing down from the inside has been resolved, and the resolution of the internal pressure changes the experience of everything else, even the things that are still hard. You're going to feel that lifting. It is coming. And when it comes, when you feel the weight lift in a way that is unmistakable, I want you to recognize it for what it is. The arrival of the season. I promise the evidence that the road went where I said it was going. The tangible result of every step of faith you took in the dark. Every prayer you prayed from exhaustion. Every moment of choosing to hold on when everything said let go. All of that is coming after the breakthrough, and the breakthrough is coming. Let me also speak about your prayer life during this stretch of the road, because I think it has changed in ways you have noticed, and some of those changes are worth understanding. When you entered this season, your prayer had a certain quality, a certain expectation, a certain freshness of faith in the conversation. And as the season has extended, you have noticed the quality of your prayer shifting. It has become more ragged sometimes, more desperate, less fluent, less confident. There are moments when you do not know what to say, when you come before me with nothing but the weight of where you are and no words to put around it. Moments when the prayer is less a conversation and more a groan, less a petition and more just a presence, just the act of showing up before me with nothing to offer but the honesty of your need. I want you to know something about those ragged, desperate, wordless prayers. They are not inferior prayers. They are not prayers I receive with less attentiveness or respond to with less power. In many ways, they are the most honest prayers I receive, the most stripped of performance, the most genuinely human, the most purely needful in a way that requires me to be the one who supplies what is missing rather than the one who receives what the person has managed to generate. The prayer that comes from a full, confident, fluent faith is real, and I receive it. But the prayer that comes from the empty place, from the place that has nothing left to offer but the reaching itself, from the genuine, desperate need that cannot dress itself up into something more presentable, that prayer touches something in me that the other prayer does not touch in quite the same way. Do not stop praying because the prayer has changed in quality from what it used to be. The change in quality is not a problem. It is an honest reflection of where you are. And where you are is exactly where I meet you with everything I have. There is one more thing I want to make clear about the angel of the Lord who goes before you on this road, because I want you to know that the spiritual assistance you have is not just my presence with you. It is also the ministry of the ones I have sent on your behalf. I do not send my people out into hard battles without covering. Not just the covering of my own presence, which is the primary and most significant covering, but also the secondary covering of the angelic ministry that I have assigned to accompany my children through the significant stretches of their journeys. And I want you to know that on the road you are currently walking, you are not without that ministry. There are those who have been assigned to you who are attending to dimensions of your situation that you cannot see, and that your prayers do not have to specifically address because they are already being attended to. The protection you carry as you walk through this territory is not just the protection of my love for you, which is real and complete. It is also the active ministry of the ones I sent who are working in the territory around you and ahead of you and behind you. You are more covered than you feel. The covering extends further than your feelings can detect. And the next time you feel exposed, the next time the sense of vulnerability presses down on you, as if you are walking through dangerous territory without protection. Remember this. The protection is there whether you can feel it or not. The ministry is active whether you can see it or not. And the God who assigned that covering is not inattentive to the places where you feel most exposed. You are covered in more dimensions than you. No, let me bring everything I have been saying back to a single point, because I know that when a message is long and thorough the way this one is, there can be a tendency to receive many things and hold none of them deeply, to feel the impact of each section while it is being spoken, and then lose it as the next section comes. And I do not want that to happen. I want this to land somewhere specific and stay there. So let me tell you the one thing I need you to carry away from everything I have said today. Keep fighting, not because you can see the end of the road, not because the circumstances have given you reason for confidence, not because the feelings are supporting the choice. Keep fighting because I am fighting with you and I do not lose. And what is mine does not get taken, and you are mine. And therefore what the enemy is trying to take from you, your faith, your hope, your destiny, your future, is not his to take, and he knows it. And the only way he can succeed is if you put it down voluntarily. Do not put it down. That is the one. Cow them. And now let me tell you one last thing before I close. I am proud of you. I know that might be unexpected. I know that after a season of extended difficulty, it is easy to feel as if the most honest assessment of how you have done is disappointment. All the times you almost gave up, all the moments your faith wobbled, all the prayers that were less than confident and the choices that were less than courageous, and the days that were less than what you hoped they would be. I know you carry an awareness of all of that, but I want you to know what I carry. I carry the awareness of every time you chose to come back, every time the faith wobbled and then found its footing again, every time you got up after going down, every prayer you prayed from the bottom of the tank, every moment of choosing to stay on the road when the road was demanding something you were not sure you had to give, every act of love you managed in the middle of your own pain, every bit of generosity you extended when you yourself were in need. I carry all of that. And when I look at the sum of who you have been on this road, what I feel is not disappointment. What I feel is something very much like pride. The pride of a parent watching a child navigate something genuinely difficult and come through it with the things that matter most still intact. The faith, the love, the basic orientation toward me that is the seed from which everything else grows. Those things are still there. You have carried them through this season, and that is not a small thing. I am proud of you. Keep going. There is more I want to explore with you, and I want you to receive all of it. I want to talk about the concept of being equipped for the fight, because I think there is a misunderstanding about what equipment actually means in the context of a spiritual battle, and that misunderstanding has been contributing to the sense that you are fighting at a disadvantage that you cannot overcome. People often think of being equipped for a difficult season as having the right. Type Amen if you believe in God.